Welcome to Partners in Public Safety, the show that brings you closer to the men and women of the police, fire, and emergency management services.
Along with Corporal Mark Ivey, I'm Captain Demetrius Todd of the Wilmington Fire Department. Today, we have a great show in store for you. We're going to share a lot of cool information for you and your family to learn from. Hey man, listen, since last month, I had multiple people walk up to me talking about, aren't you the guy that's on channel 22?
I haven't had anyone talk to me. I don't know whether it's, no one likes me apparently.
Man, look, the brother's obviously a movie star. So look, what I need you guys to do is go on WITN and check us out. We have a Facebook address that's going to be going up at the end of the show so that people can follow us, get our ratings up.
And they're going to put the segments of the show, so you don't have to watch the whole 27, 30-minute show in its entirety. They'll have segments on YouTube so you can select the segments that you like the best. Yeah. This month we've got a great show for you. We've got a number of safety tips that we're going to be sharing with you. We've got some ICE training the fire department's been doing over the winter. And we have Chief Bobby Cummings, who's going to come talk to you a little bit about himself and his vision for the police department.
Yeah, man. Last month we had Chief Anthony Good on, and the viewing audience was in definitely for a real treat. I think Chief Cummings is going to be just as interesting. A lot of people in the community already know him. He's a homegrown guy. He's originally from Georgia, right? But he said he'd been here since he was 3 years old. So he went to all the schools and stuff in Wilmington. So
yeah, homegrown, and he's a great chief. He'll be here to talk with you when we come back.
Don't touch that dial.
Yes, I am.
Give it to him hard.
No.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Why you stabbing me with it? No.
They want to help, but don't know how.
Oh,
Teach your kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
Hey! Hey! Hey you! Could you put that coffee cup in here, please? Yep, I'll take anything on that list you've got. Cans, bottles, newspapers. That trash is worth money here in Wilmington when you toss it into one of these bins, so hit me with everything you've got.
Can I do this myself?
Well, sure. Then you could earn your own rewards. Do a good thing for the planet, and it's so easy.
Hey, Wilmington. Sign up for the Recycle Bank program and receive your own recycle container with wheels. You'll then be credited for a certain dollar amount for every pound of recyclables you provide, all redeemable for valuable rewards.
There's enough recyclables for everyone, so let's recycle, Wilmington, okay?
You know what? I'm doing it.
Just call the number. You gotta call the number. This number, right here. Call that number.
Welcome back to Partners in Public Safety. Joining us now is Interim Chief Bobby Cummings from the Police Department. Welcome, Chief.
Thank you. Welcome, Chief.
Thank you.
Thanks for being with us. Now, you're new to this job, but you're not new to the city. You've grown up here since you were 3 years old. You've been a member of the police department since 1985. So you're, by all accounts, a pretty seasoned policeman, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, when you took over this job, what's the main priority that you have for this police department?
Well, again, once I was named the interim chief, the mission was to make sure that we remain consistent, that we provided a level of service that we provided in the past, and that to allow our officers to remember that the reason we came here was to serve the public and also to protect them. So that was one of the goals that we had coming in as the interim chief.
Now, that word interim chief, some people may not know exactly what that means. What does the title interim chief exactly mean?
Well, again, when I was first named interim chief, I kind of had my thoughts about it too. I'm thinking, interim. So I looked it up and I saw acting for the time being, momentarily, for the moment. So again, it means that you're put in a position where we have a vacancy and someone has to be in a position of leadership. And at that point, I was named to be that position of leadership. So again, I thought it was the objective to make sure that we remain on task and that we move the department forward.
With respect to moving the department forward, how many men and women now, being the interim chief of the Wilmington Police Department, do you have under your command?
Well, being the interim chief, I would say that's the entire police department. We're authorized 320 officers. We're probably down to a level of 311, I believe.
Okay. Do you guys have a class coming up?
Well, that's being talked about. It's something that we desperately need. Again, we need to have a bigger presence out there, and that is something that is currently being worked out with the state as far as funding source. And we're also looking at internal funding source, but that is something that's currently being talked about, yes.
Okay.
Now, backing up a little bit, Chief, you've been an officer since 1985. What has that experience, what about that experience have you brought with you to the job that you have right now?
Well, again, coming on in 1985, I was fresh out of high school, 4 years working at the Acme Market. You know, I was a cashier bagger, and I used to meet a lot of police officers in that capacity. So, since 1985, I was a patrol officer. I was in the Drug Organized Crime Vice Division. I was in the Detective Division. I also went to the Human Resources Division, where I became a training officer. As that training officer, I was involved in several different police academies. 4 as the day-to-day sergeant, 1 as the lieutenant of the division. After that, I was promoted to captain. I was in charge of Special Operations Division. In that capacity, I had all the events in the city. Sometime after that, I was moved over to our Support Services and Communications Division. Time after that, I got promoted to inspector. So all of that experience, I believe, gave me an opportunity and insight for our police department. And again, not just saying that I'm the best candidate for that, which I don't believe. I believe there are other candidates on this police department who could do the same job. But because of that experience, again, it gives me an insight to direct this police department along with all of our other commanders that I work with.
So what are some of your goals moving forward?
Well, one of the goals is, again, to maintain and keep the department consistent, to better look at our personnel and develop them to become our next leaders. You know, being in a position of leadership doesn't mean that it's about the individual who's in that position. If you do nothing in that position but think about yourself, then you're not really being a true leader. But the leader who is in a position to bring along people behind them to take over the role after you leave, I think that's what makes a good leader, and I believe we're in a position to do that as a police department.
Right. Now, talking about moving forward, there's been a lot of talk recently about a new deployment strategy that the police department's adopting. It's a sector-based strategy. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yes. What that sector deployment does for us, it brings about a level of accountability throughout the city. So what we've done is geographically broke the city up into 3 different parts. In that, we assigned a captain to each sector. So that captain has a level of accountability to the residents in that area, also to the city, to make sure that we address issues that are occurring either of a criminal nature and or building strong neighborhoods. So in building a strong neighborhood, we're looking at engaging the community, not just the individuals that we know who are out there on a daily basis. That is a small percentage of the individuals we deal with, but to engage the individuals that sometimes seem somewhat afraid to come out and address the officers. So we have to make an attempt to reach out to them. And I believe that's what we need to do in this strong community concept.
A lot of times you hear guys and girls in the community hollering about community policing, community policing. What exactly is community policing?
Well, community policing, again, is being known throughout the sector that our officers are now going to be assigned to. So to me, what that means is that engagement, that relationship building throughout your community, knowing the business owners, knowing the residents who live in the area, that you get out of your vehicle and you engage those individuals to let them see that there's a level of accountability, not only to the police officers, but to the individuals who live within their sector, that it's not just a police problem, but it's a problem that needs to be addressed by everyone who has a stake in this community. So community policing, again, is getting to know the neighbors within the area, the business owners, and just building that level of trust and that level of, again, a comfortability where you know the officers who work your area, the officers know who lives within the area. So that's pretty much about community policing.
Okay.
Community policing seems a very people-based approach to policing.
Yes.
But there's also a lot of tools that the police department can use to help do our jobs better, to be more effective at how we police. One of those tools has been in the news recently, and it's a system called ShotSpotter. Can you explain to the audience at home a little bit about what ShotSpotter is and why we're really looking forward to that system?
Well, ShotSpotters is a system, again, that can detect sounds that come from firearms. In that system detecting those shots, it allows us to pinpoint the area in which those shots are coming from. Whether it be a rooftop, an alleyway, it gets geolocated on a map, and we can direct our officers to those locations to either recover evidence and or to connect these pieces to individual crimes. So the ShotSpotter is going to provide that for us, and again, it doesn't go by itself. There's another component that you have to have the human element in it, because there's analysis and data that comes from that we have to view and look at. So again, this is a component and a tool that will help us in those efforts.
Real quick, I mean, you look really good in your suit. You have your white shirt on, a bunch of gold all over the place, but you're Chief Cummings. Let's give the audience a real good inside peek of who you are. If you wasn't the chief of the Wilmington Police Department and you had to do anything else, what would it be?
Well, I would say, you know, growing up and going through high school and as a little kid, I always played sports. If I could do something, it would be in the area of physical fitness. Obviously, during the police academies, I was involved. I was a drill sergeant there. I went to a training class to become a physical fitness specialist. So if there was anything, it would be involved in physical fitness. And
real quick, if you guys are to get a new class to come on board for the Wilmington Police Department, what are some of the qualities and characteristics that you'd be looking for in a new recruit?
Obviously, we're looking for people who are dedicated, people who want to do this because it's a choice of theirs to want to help and serve people. If you, again, come in here looking for a job for a pay salary, again, this is probably not the place you need to be. But if this is something that you're committed to, that you, again, strive for because you like serving, then this is a place that you need to come. And those are the kind of individuals that we're looking for.
Okay. Well, Chief, thank you very much for joining us today. I think people got a great insight about the person who you are and the department that you're hoping to create. Thanks so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Chief.
You're welcome.
Stick with us. We'll be right back.
Firefighter Kevin Malloy was busy saving lives.
I enjoyed my career as a firefighter. I considered myself fit. There wasn't anything physically that was stopping me or incapacitating me. I had a 5-way bypass. I was blown away by it. I was the guy that it wouldn't happen to. And until it does happen to you or someone you know, do you really realize how real it is?
I'm Dr. Ed Goldenberg, co-chair of Million Hearts Delaware. Each year, more than 2,000 Delawareans die from heart attacks and strokes. Many of these casualties can be prevented when people know their numbers. Know your risk and provide the ABCs of prevention. Join us in our effort to prevent 1 million heart attacks and strokes. Visit millionheartsde.com and get connected now.
Welcome back. In this segment, Questions from the Street, we take questions from you, the community. Our first question comes from Alexis. Let's take a look.
Question for the fire department is, should every residential home have a fire extinguisher in it?
Alexis, that was a great question. To answer your question, if you are a homeowner in the city of Wilmington, you do not need to have a fire extinguisher in your home. Now, it's highly recommended that you have fire extinguishers, smoke detectors, carbon monoxide alarms, and things of that nature, but it's not mandatory that you have it if you are a homeowner. If you are a renter in the city of Wilmington, it's mandatory that you have a smoke detector on each level of your home, as well as a carbon monoxide detector in the dwelling area where people sleep. If you have any additional questions or concerns about where smoke detectors, fire extinguishers, or carbon monoxide detectors need to be placed, you can give the Fire Marshal Office a call at 302-576-3120.
Thanks, D. Todd. Next, we have a question for the police department from Kareem.
My name is Kareem Ali. The question that I have for the police department is really pertaining to domestic violence. And the question would be, you know, what should you do, you know, if you are on the receiving end or you are the batterer of domestic violence, you know, what are some tips, you know, to try to de-escalate those situations and, you know, places that people can go to for more support. And even on the delicate tip of maybe I don't want this person to be, you know, locked up, maybe I just want them to get some help.
Thanks, Kareem. Joining us now to help answer that question is Detective Joe Miller from the Wilmington Police Department Domestic Violence Unit. Thanks for joining us, Detective.
Thanks for having me, Mark.
Well, the first thing we should probably address is what exactly is domestic violence?
Well, the best way to describe domestic violence would be a form of behavior that is usually negative in its aspects against one family member to another family member. It can involve a husband, wife, it can involve a boyfriend and a girlfriend, ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend. So there's a variety of different ways it could be financial, it could be obviously physical, it can be emotional. So it takes it's a full wide aspect of emotions and actually physical abuse that could be.
Okay, so Kareem asked the question, what should you do if you think you're on the receiving end of domestic violence? How do you even know sometimes?
Well, you can usually tell because things have changed. You know, in some cases, you become isolated. You obviously begin to wonder if you actually have a place in the relationship. Obviously, if it becomes physical, it could just start from a simple push to a slap to an actual hit. Then you know, think that that's not normal, that's not acceptable behavior, and things usually get worse from there.
So we talk a lot about at the police department level the cycle of domestic violence. What is that exactly?
Well, usually what's going to happen is you become, an incident takes place. It could be just a simple slap, it could be a push or punch, you can be injured, not injured, and then right after that, usually the aggressor becomes nice, they apologize, there's like a remorse, and then basically goes back again, and there's the idea that you're going to forgive them and you continue to stay in the relationship, and it just keeps going around and around.
So if you find yourself in this cycle, what are some things you can do?
Well, obviously you want to seek some kind of help. You know, you can go to a variety of places in the community. There's different agencies you can go to that'll help you with resources. You can obviously come to the police station. You can contact advocates that work in the community as far as prevention. There's survivor groups that are strictly made of members of survivors of domestic violence will go out there and help you kind of navigate yourself through the system.
So when you call the police, can you take us through a little bit about what happens when you pick up that phone and say, my boyfriend or my girlfriend just hit me?
Sure. What will happen is we'll go out to that individual's residence or place that they're staying. We'll obviously conduct a thorough investigation. We obviously have protocols that direct us on what we can and cannot do. Full investigation again will take place, and then in most cases, you know, arrest could be made, or then we then bring the case up before the Department of Justice, and they make the final decision.
Now, as police officers, that's one of the things we have to do in a lot of criminal cases is make arrests. But Kareem expressed some concern about what we should do or what someone could do if you don't want to get your loved one arrested. You're in a domestic violence situation, or you think you're in it, but you don't want to have them carted away in handcuffs. Is there any options?
Well, if a full investigation is done and we believe that there is a crime that's been taking place, you know, for our protocol, we're gonna make an arrest. Down the road through the Department of Justice, you know, obviously the victim has a hand in the matter and can obviously tell what they would like to see out of this. You can also go to the if you don't report it to police, you can obviously just go to one of the local resources, or you go to a community, like a church, and just talk to somebody there. And then obviously there's people that are out there to help you get into a safe place and determine whether you want to, I guess, go forward from there and prosecute if that's the case.
Now, one of those resources we talk about a lot is a domestic violence hotline. Can you talk to us a little bit about what that involves, what the process is from the time you dial that number all the way through?
Sure. Once you dial the number, somebody will obviously answer on the other end, and they're trained in the field of obviously domestic violence and advocacy and safety planning, and they will then talk to you about your situation. They'll ask you what's involved in it, and then from there they'll decide what is best for you. They'll make suggestions to you about what you should or should not be doing, and if you want to have the police involved. And then again, the main objective is like a safety plan to make sure that you get into a safe place.
Now, what does a safety plan exactly involve?
A safety plan would be obviously getting yourself out of this situation and put yourself in a position where you are safe, you're not in fear of your imminent danger, that the perpetrator is not around you at the time, and that the perpetrator maybe cannot find you at the particular moment as well.
Now, if you're, let's say, a single mother or a mother with children, do these alternatives have places where children can go as well?
Yeah, the shelters will take children, and there is a certain amount of beds. However, most of the time they will not turn anybody down. And yeah, they have services for children. They have assistance for the mom in order to get them to daycare and whatever the cases may be.
Well, the lesson to take away from this is that domestic violence is a serious issue and that there's no reason you shouldn't find a way out of the situation. You can contact the police department, we can help you. You can contact a variety of resources that can also help you get out of the situation if you don't feel safe or comfortable calling the police.
Sure. And it's not going to go away, unfortunately. In all the cases I've dealt with, the domestic violence does not go away. It may have a little bit of a lull here and there, but it does not go away until the actual victim decides that they want to finally walk away.
Well, that was some interesting information. Thanks, Detective, for your time. And thanks, Alexis and Kareem, for your questions. And remember, when you see the Channel 22 WITN van on the street, have your questions ready. Up next, we have D. Todd with some interesting facts about cold water. And it's not the kind you drink.
Over the last few weeks, when it was icy and snowing outside, and when most of you were in your house staying warm, the Wilmington Fire Department was outside. We were conducting what's called ice water rescue training. Let's take a look. Throughout the icy month of January, crews embraced the frigid temperatures and made use of ice covering our area. The Wilmington Fire Department performed drills where members practiced 3 different techniques to reach and rescue victims trapped in the ice. Members used the ice pole reach, the cinch collar, and the backboard ice sled to perform different types of ice rescue. Fire department personnel also practiced self-rescue as well as several victim removal techniques. They used rope bags, pike poles, and backboards to practice victim removal. Ice rescue training served as a great opportunity to familiarize engine companies with SOC operations and refresh their skills. Utilizing all of the fire department's skills, strengths, and equipment will allow the fire department to provide the best services to our community. By making the best of this relentless winter weather, these members got hands-on training with these important tools and techniques. Great job, fire department.
We are your Wilmington City Council, and we're also your neighbors. We're asking you to let us know about your community events, achievements, concerns, and issues.
That's why we created a special email address that will connect you to all of us in City Council.
Drop us an email about things going on in your neighborhood with Community Events 22 at wilmingtonde.gov. That's Community Events 22 at wilmingtonde.gov.
Before we go, we'd like to offer a safety tip to help make a difference in your life. Mark?
The use of cell phones while driving has got a lot of attention lately. It's illegal, plain and simple. When you operate a car, you need to put your full attention on the road at all times. But driving safely is about more than just not using your cell phone. It's about keep paying attention and not doing the other things that a lot of people do in their car. People eat, we see it all the time, people are eating.
Drinking.
People are drinking, and we're not talking about alcohol, we're just talking sodas and other things.
Makeup.
Putting on their makeup. People seem to be able to put their whole life in a car while they're driving. When you're on the road, you need to pay attention. Especially in icy conditions, the roads are even more unforgiving. Your stopping distances decrease, meaning that your room for error is very small. So keep yourself and everyone else safe. Pay attention, keep 2 eyes on the road, and stay safe.
That's a great tip. You like the gift that just keep giving.
Oh, yeah, I don't know about that, but keep your eyes on the road and pay attention. Anyway, it's been a great show this time around, and I know people will come back for the next one.
Yep. So when you see the WITN Channel 22 van, have your questions prepared. See you next time.